Hello and welcome to this episode of Real Women. I'm Amber Carnish and joined with me today is actress Marissa Culbreath. Thanks for being here with me, Marissa. So can we start off by you just telling me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Marissa Culbreath. In the daytime, my career is a school teacher. I teach social studies. I love it. It's like one of my favorite things, especially, in the times now, teaching social studies is, to me, the best thing.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Yes, it's great. I have a husband and one kid, and I have been acting pretty much my whole life, when you think about it, school plays, church plays, things like that. But I just got into seriously acting just in the past couple of years, and I've just kind of taken it and run with it, and I'm having fun with it, and I hope that I can make it a career.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you tell me what made you want to take acting more seriously?
Yeah, well, I did my first short film about 2 years ago with Dayvision Films, with Michael Day, shout out. We did our first short film and I fell in love with it. Like, I fell in love with being in front of the camera and just acting something, you know what I mean? Like being someone else and living a different life, things like that. So that kind of got me into it, and I just decided I wanted to take it more seriously. And I'm the kind of person, like, once I decide something, I'm just gonna
do it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's also kind of a very similar reason why I love filmmaking. I'm more behind the scenes, behind the camera person, but I love being able to create things and live a different life, or be able to capture a different life. And literally the sky's endless, so it's really fun. And film is really awesome and a great way to do that. Can you tell me about other projects that you've worked on?
Yeah, so since working on Focus, I've actually worked behind the scenes on some feature films. I've got to be extras, the people in the background and things like that. So that's been really fun. Since we've done Focus, I've actually started working with Dayvision Films, and so I do content creation for them, and I want to get into some directing, things like that. So we have a couple other projects we're working on. And then I've also gotten into theater. So I'm doing a couple of shows with Arkansas Public Theater, and that has been so much fun. And I hope to just, continue acting in any way I can.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about Focus. Can you just give me a brief description of what it's about and who your role was and everything like that?
Yeah, so in Focus, I played Denise Douglas. She is a Black newscaster for a local station, and she is just trying to work her way up in the ranks, just like anyone. But she has some troubles. And what the film is focusing on is mainly the disparities of Black women in the workplace. So, we get lower pay, we have to show up differently, we have to, act differently in the workplace, act differently with our bosses, speak to people a certain way. And it's just kind of, it can be stressful and saddening and things like that. So it just kind of focuses on that, no pun intended.
Yeah.
It focuses on that. So I really enjoy being a part of the project. It was something I just really wanted to do because as a Black woman, I want to shine light on Black stories, right? So I just feel like I'm the perfect person to tell those stories and to put it out there on the screen. So I was so excited to work with Dayvision on that.
Yeah, I've talked to Michael before, and I think his whole message with Dayvision is really awesome.
Oh,
I watched Focus, and I thought, great story. It looked beautiful. You looked beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, the message is a super, super important, and I think stories like that need to be told more
Absolutely.
often.
And like you said, what Dayvision is doing is just, as Black people in this business, and we had our inaugural Black film showcase. And, we talked about it a little bit on the panel, but with, Dayvision's vision, they want to put those Black stories on the forefront. And, Black stories need to be told by Black people. And that's just kind of his focus there. And I've really, really enjoyed working with him. And I hope we can continue to do that and just shine light on it and continue to have more showcases and, be able to get more resources to make bigger and better films,
Yeah.
you know, because these things we've done before, I mean, we didn't really spend a lot of money because we didn't have a lot of money. But, you know, just think if people, you know, invested in us or, you know, just in minorities in general,
Yeah.
women and Black people and Hispanics and everyone.
Yeah.
If we were to actually put ourselves and our resources into shining light on these groups, I feel like the world would be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And people would probably see things a little different.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we get all our information from media.
Yeah.
All types of media, not just, you know, people say in the media, but
Yeah.
it's not just news, it's film and
Oh,
TV
yeah, for
shows
sure.
and cartoons and all type of stuff. We get all of that from media. And I
Yeah.
just feel like we should put more into minority-driven media. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah, I totally agree. Kind of
I
branching
think I
off.
went on a tangent
No,
there.
I
Sorry.
think it was great. But kind of building off of that, representation in films, super, super important. I feel like, you know, in more recent years, it's been more, it gets shown more. But what would you like to see differently in terms of representation in film?
So just like what you said, it's a hot topic.
Yeah.
Right? It's out there. Everyone wants to talk about it. But I think one thing that I would like to change is just people being about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not just talking about it. So I think it's going to take people like, you know, you and I who want to put this more on the forefront and put in the work behind making these stories come alive. I feel like it's just only going to get better.
Yeah.
So
for
while
sure.
right now it's just like a hot topic, I think that more people will begin to actually be the words that they're saying. I can't really explain that any better, but I think that's one thing I really want to change. I also want to change, like I said earlier, like Black stories being told by Black people, right? So a lot of times, like our favorite Black movies are run by, you know, white directors or white film companies, things like that. I feel like I want more Black film companies, Black directors, Black writers, things like that, so that we can start pushing that more towards the forefront.
Kind of speaking of, you know, Black filmmakers, Black writers, and everything like that, some of the biggest ones right now are Jordan Peele, who kind of makes films about oppression.
Right.
And then also Ryan Coogler, who did Black Panther, he adds in like urban music and urban art and stuff like that. So those are some of the things that they bring to films. Is there anything that you specifically would want to bring to the industry or the films that you do?
I think what I want to bring to the film industry is authenticity. Because a lot of times we try to show up as a certain thing. And everybody does it, not just Black people, not just, you know, not just like women or anything. Everybody tries to show up as a certain person or in a certain way. And I just really hope that I bring like just myself. I don't want to be anybody else. I don't want anybody to tell me to be anything else. I just want to bring authenticity. And a lot of times, I think sometimes as actors or people in the entertainment industry as a whole, we try to show up as like something more than what we are. And so I hope that, you know, should I get the opportunity to like really make it big, you know, put this, you know, don't lose this video, right? Because when I say when I'm going to make it big one day, but you know, should I get the opportunity to really make it big, I hope that I can really just bring my authentic self to the table.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything that you want us to know and expect from you in the coming years?
I want people to know that I'm not just gonna stop. Like, you know, there might be some times you don't see something from me or, you know, see something that I'm doing, but I'm never stopping.
Yeah.
I'm always going to, you know, advocate and educate about, you know, Black women and Black people in general in filmmaking. Because this is something that I've just committed myself to now.
Right.
Because I love it and I want it to remain authentic. I want it to, you know, remain our voices being heard.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm never gonna stop. I'm never gonna quit. I hope that I can act forever.
Yeah.
But if I can't, I'll always be an advocate. So.
Yeah, and you never know like who's gonna watch that and see you or another Black woman on the screen and be like, I can do that. These
Right.
women are doing it. Why can't I?
Right.
Or like hear about a woman filmmaker or just anything like that. Because when I was growing up, I didn't really have a ton of like women filmmakers to look up to. It's like
Right.
all men. And I think that could be, the same thing for young Black women who are struggling, and then seeing, these powerful, important women on the screen. It's going to be really impactful to them.
Yes, absolutely. And I always want to be that example. Like
Yeah.
you say, you want somebody to look at you and be like, wow, like
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't even have to be like kids or anything like that.
Yeah.
If a woman that's like 40 years old and is like looking at me and
Yeah.
it's like, wow, that's something I want to do. That's great.
Yeah.
I want her to go out there and just pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I just tell people. Like when I decided I wanted to be an actress, I just did it.
You just did it. Yeah, that's awesome.
I just did it. And
Yeah.
so now I just continue to look for opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we can continue to grow these opportunities, especially in Northwest Arkansas, where you feel like there should be more opportunities because in the area we live
Yeah.
in, and we live in a pretty well-off area with lots of resources
Yeah.
that you would think there'd be like more opportunities, but we're constantly having to create them. And that's okay, but you just only hope that you can be someone who can continue to bring these things and these opportunities to the area that you're in. So.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of changing topics a little bit. What does being a woman in film mean to you?
Well, I think being a woman in film kind of goes back to having the responsibility of being authentic, right?
Yeah.
So everybody has their definition of what a woman should be, but I only hope that I can bring just myself to any project that I'm in. Just so you know, a woman doesn't have to be this cookie cutter, this cookie cutter thing of
Yeah.
what we should be, right? I mean, that's pretty much it. I never try to put like so much responsibility on myself of what we should be or what being a woman in film should be. Being a woman in film is just going out there and doing what you dream of, what your heart desires, and that's it. You be exactly who you want to be.
I think that's a great answer. Yeah, for sure. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but how, I guess, in other ways, do you feel like you can empower not just young women, but again, at any age, just women in general, girls, to, kind of reach for the stars and empower them to just be who they are and want to do what they want to do?
You just kind of have to start with kind of canceling out the noise, right? Because especially in our society, there's so much noise coming from so many different directions. You've got the social media and the news and, just these images of what people think we should be, right? We keep saying that. There's so many standards, but you just really hope that you can just influence people to just say, hey, I'm going to block out all the noise and I'm just going to be myself, right? I'm just going to be me. I'm going to go out there and put my heart into whatever my dreams and goals are and achieve them my way. And I hope that me doing that can inspire somebody else to do that.
For sure.
And speak up for yourself and advocate for yourself and for others. I mean, that's what's important to me. I'm kind of the person that has the attitude, if I don't influence anybody else to be like me, that's okay.
Yeah. At least you're being yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm being me and I want you to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. Could you give me a piece of advice, which I guess all of this has been great advice, but is there one piece of advice, if you could only give one, piece of advice to a woman who wants to be in film, whether it's acting, writing, director of photography, whatever it is, what piece of advice would you give them?
Yeah, so just do the first thing. Do the first thing. So my first thing was when I saw the audition come out for Focus, I just reached out and was like, hey, I would like to try that. Yeah. I would like to try. Even with writing, I've written a short film and I didn't think I could, but I just start on the first page, right? If you want to get into directing, reach out to a director, start with assisting, start getting on the set. I mean, you just have to do first things first, right?
For sure.
And just take it from there.
Exactly. And it can be really discouraging at first because you're like, oh, these people, they know how to do all of these things.
And intimidating.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
it can be that.
You can find that so many people do want to help. Like I was a PA on a feature one time and didn't know anyone, but I was like, I know I want to do camera.
Yeah.
I'm really like scared and intimidated right now. But everyone was so nice to me. I like told the camera department that's what I wanted to do, and they were like, oh, feel free to ask us questions.
Absolutely.
And I did.
And the more you know, the more you can help them out.
Exactly, and help other people out. Like I want to be somebody that can help others get
and
to where they want to be.
Yeah, once you're in it too, it's like you said, when you first start out, everybody does want to help, right?
Yeah.
And then once you kind of first, you start getting your bearings and everything, and you realize, okay, I do want to be that person too. Like you said, I want to be somebody that helps other people. Because once you're in it, you're like, more people need to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you're in it, you realize that.
Yeah.
More people need to have their creativity be put into something physical. Whether it be a written story, whether it be an illustration, right? An artist does an illustration.
Yeah.
And, I work at an art school. So I see my students, they'll put something down on paper, whether they write it or draw it. And I'm like, you're only 12 years old, but I feel like somebody needs to see this.
Yeah.
I'll put their art on my Facebook just so people can see it.
That's awesome.
And I just think it's like everybody deserves to have their creativity put into something physical.
I totally agree. Yeah, because it can take you way farther than you would expect.
Yeah, and we need people learning to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I think that's a great piece of advice. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode of Real Women. Be sure to tune into future episodes as we introduce more women across the state who are changing the film industry. On behalf of Marissa Culbreath, I'm Amber Carnish, and I'll see you next time.